Oh, man. Oh, no. What did I do? Whoa. Oh, it must be Friday. Episode 1070. That's insane to think that I've uploaded thousands of videos. I've uploaded thousands of videos at this point. Oh my god. What have I been doing? What have I been doing? New messages. Got new messages, guys. It says, reminder, you're late. Oh my god. What kind of message is that? Why would anybody send that? What are you doing? Yo, dog. I'm not late. You're late. Boom! Hit the button. What's up, everybody? What's going on? It's Friday, and I'm late. I'll admit it. You know it. I know it. We all know it. We all know I'm late. Okay, so just chill. I know I'm late. We've entered 2022'erd off with a bang. It's 2022 with a bang out here. Yeah, I got a phone call that said, "Hey, there's been another incident of COVID-arona at Olivia's daycare. So they're having to shut down for another 2 weeks. So welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of me lamenting what the F is going on 2 years into this. I mean, I know that I'm going big when I say 2 years, because it's only been like 19 months or something. But here we are, 20 months. Has it been 20 months? 21 months? I don't know. 21 months, I think. Into this whole situation, and then now Olivia's daycare is shut down again for another 2 weeks. And I have to tell you, it's pissing me off. It's pissing me off. It's pissing me off. I'm extraordinarily frustrated at this point. I got to admit, I'm extraordinarily frustrated. You know, it's it's a wonder. It's a wonder. I don't know if you guys have seen the Netflix movie Don't Look Up. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio in it. It's got Cate Blanchett in it. It's got that Jonah. What's his name? Jonah? I don't know. Jonah Hill. I don't know. Lots of famous people are in that movie. Jennifer something, whatever. Lots of famous people in that movie. And I feel like when I watched it, I felt like it was overly satirical. It's a satire. It's a social commentary movie. It's making fun of the current state of affairs that we're in. And the thing was, when I watched it, I was like, man, that's way over the top. That's way over the top, guys. Come on. It's way over the top. I have to admit, after a couple of weeks later, thinking about it, I start to realize, like, you know what? Maybe it wasn't that over the top. Because you just try to go to the Safeway or the grocery store, whatever your grocery store is. Go to the grocery store earlier, and there's, like, the super angry people wandering around. They can't be bothered to wear a mask. They don't care. They don't care about anyone around them. And I've noticed this a lot. And specific to a certain part of the American community. A certain part of the American community. There is a group of Americans that, unless something negative specifically happens to them, they don't do anything. They will not change their behavior. They will not empathize with other people. They don't care about other people around them. The other people around them are simply, might as well be furniture, you know? It's like, you know, and, you know, somebody pitched a fit because of my first episode of the year on Monday. I said, look, I'm tired of arguing with right-wing wackos, okay? I'm tired of arguing with them. And I want to be specific. I want to be specific as to why I'm tired of arguing with them, because they argue from a position of avoid, right? They're just arguing from nowhere. They don't want to put themselves on camera. They don't want to put themselves on record. They don't want to be recorded saying all the crazy nonsense they say because of, air quote, cancel culture, right? Because guess what? When you say a bunch of crazy, wacky stuff, a bunch of people say, hey, that wacky stuff sucks, right? And they don't want to go on record. So I get emails, I get messages, I get people stomping their feet around in the background of my world, and yet I say, hey, well, maybe you don't want to argue with me on my YouTube channel. Maybe you don't want to argue with me on my YouTube channel for whatever reason. Maybe we could argue about it on Twitch. Let's record it and we'll just post it up as a video or something. No, don't want to do that. No. I would like to maintain my anonymity whilst having terrible opinions about things, right? Like, okay, cool, I guess, right? That's my reasoning behind it. Now, a lot of people out there will lament that,
oh, everybody's just building their own echo chamber.
well, guess what? That's how people operate, generally speaking. You don't have a bunch of people that aren't your friends just over at your house, right? You don't have, like, people that aren't close acquaintances involved in your life. I don't have time to go wander around and talk to random people, and neither do you, right? It's not a matter of building an echo chamber. It's a matter of engaging with a community that can at least agree to disagree, or at least if you're going to disagree, do it in a public mechanism, right? So that you could go, hey, here's what I think. And then when a bunch of people say, hey, whatever you're thinking is totally crazy, right? That's my reasoning behind it. Is like, there's a lot of people on my Discord that we could totally have disagreements about tax percentages. We could have disagreements about, implementation of policy in order to stem the environmental impact that we're having on the only Earth that we live on, right? We can have disagreements about stuff like that. Like, hey, I think this is a better application. I think this is a better application. Oh, I don't know, blah, 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 right? But we generally don't have the people that are, the Earth is flat, right? And all this other conspiratorial nonsense that you hear about. And I today specifically wanted to talk about new inventions coming to the hobby and what would you be excited about and whatnot. And my reasoning behind that is the conversation about non-fungible tokens, if you don't know what they are, NFTs, right? And a thread that a buddy of mine passed on to me of people interacting with the idea of NFTs, right? And I'm gonna paraphrase some of this stuff, right? And because the conversation started with, it started out with the idea that they would basically use non-fungible token technology in order to encrypt literature, right? And the idea behind it, I'm scrolling back to here you go. You can have books sold as a special editions, which include NFTs of original artwork included in the book. Hold on a second. Yeah, hold on. So the idea is that you'd basically create a digital copy of a book, right? And then encrypt it as an NFT. And the answer to that was you created a PDF. You're describing a PDF. And the idea was literature NFTs will change the world, right? And then the follow-up with that is like, I'm so here for that. Not only literature as we know it, but merged with visual mediums into multi-layered, programmable, and composable experiences which can adapt and change over time. And the reality response to that was a website. You've created a website. I feel like literature and the metaverse are going to go hand in hand. I imagine writers collaborating with artists for immersive experiences we never thought of before. Exciting stuff. The answer to that's a movie, right? Looney, yeah, basically replying without needing Hollywood or any kind of production studio, a writer can work with a small team and make a world come to life. The answer to that, you realize that exists right now, right? That's what independent film is, right? So I feel like we've reached a point now where people are literally trying to monetize the existence of things that already exist and then try to turn them into a digital copy of something, right? And that's mainly what I wanted to talk about today. And it's a real issue in the fish hobby, I think, right now. I think we're going to start encountering more and more of this type of interaction with the fish hobby. And I think one of the reasons for that is that we're not necessarily seeing a lot of critical thinking from the average person. It's everything has been completely put into a capitalist frame of like viewing innovation as this is my opportunity to make my money, right? And I find that to be unfortunate. And it's really starting to stress me out a little bit. Big D Smoke says, yeah, now being held accountable for what you do or say is called cancel culture. That's the thing. It's like, if you say something crazy and you get pushback for it, you're not canceled. You haven't been canceled, right? But the reality is that like people get kicked off of social media sites because they haven't read the terms of service, or if they have read the terms of service, they just don't care, right? And I think it's unfortunate that that's being put into the frame now of you're being censored, right? And the reality is that like these media sites, because of basically like the influence that they have at this point, have a responsibility to not allow like crazy misinformation to get out there, because then you end up with all these negative interaction in the real world, right? John Barnes says, hospital I work at is short nurses. Really? All areas, because now all of us are getting COVID, so no beds for patients. Whack jobs argue not COVID's fault. You have beds for sick folks, staff better. Had to have a heart attack victim airlifted 4 hours to find a bed. Yeah, that, I mean, if we're talking about the pandemic at this point, it's like everybody is exhausted because we have like a solid portion a solid portion of people that just refuse to interact like with the world. Like it's just, and continued hardship and lack of sleep and getting tired and getting worn out and actually getting exhausted with this. Krager's Fish says, I need a blue wrench for cleanup in aisle 2. What do you need a blue wrench for? Yeah, I don't know. Ramul says, I'm vaccinated. I'm not a COVID denier, but censorship is a problem, and the government is using the pandemic as an excuse to gain power. If you're under like if anybody out there is under any sort of like interpretation that the governing bodies of the world have no need to gain power over anybody anywhere, and if you just sat down for half of a second and looked at the budgetary mechanisms that go into all of this stuff, you'd realize that where do they need to gain power from what, and how is the power being gained? There are no shutdowns, there are no lockdowns, there's no nothing going on. Private businesses have decided to say that like they want to see that you're vaccinated if you want to eat sitting in a restaurant or whatever. But at what point is that a gaining of power? How have you gained any kind of power, right? There's nothing there. There's nothing there for them to gain. They have all the money. They have all the economic mechanisms. They have they have every bit of influence over everybody. They already have the power. I mean, like, what power are they trying to gain at this point, right? Like, I mean, especially if we're talking about the U.S. government. I mean, where does the U.S. government like not have influence, right? Like, maybe Iran, but I'm pretty sure, like, all the crazy, all of the crazy things in place to like, restrict Iran from being like a country is probably influencing everything that's going on there too, right? I don't understand what people think that are being gotten by or whatever. The public censors individuals more than any governmental body in the U.S. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for free speech. I'm 100% an advocate for free speech, 100%. And if we're talking about free speech in the United States Constitution, the United States Constitution explicitly highlights that you will not be censored by a governmental body, any agent of the government. That's what it highlights, right? But if you're literally like on YouTube and YouTube decides that you're spreading crazy misinformation, they send you warnings about it. And if you ignore those warnings and continue to do things that break the terms of service, then the company that is YouTube, right, can restrict your access to their business, right? Now, if the free speech advocates that are out there were actually advocating for a free speech platform, what I never hear them say is we should have a publicly funded speech platform. I never hear them bring that up. If that's what we're talking about, if you want something to be able to compete with the size of YouTube, and if you're expecting like another private company to come in with like what, $18 billion or something to start their own platform, like, keep waiting, because it's never going to happen. No one's going to be able to really invest to do that. Even Amazon tried to do that, and it didn't work, right? They tried to create a new streaming platform. What was it called? What was Amazon's streaming platform? Amazon, or was it Microsoft? Oh, no, yeah, because Amazon bought Twitch. It was Microsoft streaming platform. What the hell was that called? Mixer. Yeah, they tried to start up Mixer. They got the biggest Twitch live streamer, who now is on YouTube, I think. Microsoft couldn't even do it. Is there a bigger company out there that could try to compete, right? My thing is that, like, if you wanted to be a free speech advocate, then you would want something that was publicly funded in order to provide a platform for freedom of speech to exist, right? My big issue is that, if you want to do that, can we provide internet access for Americans? Can we do that? No. Everyone else, but guess who argues against that? It's the same free speech advocate people that go, private businesses should be able to do the internet. Right? And you go, okay. I mean, I have been arguing for the last 20 years that the internet should be an infrastructure item. We should be funding that and putting that into place because you can't do a job now if you don't have internet access, right? There are jobs that exist that you might not need internet access for. Those people have way bigger problems than worrying about how fast their internet is, realistically, though. Let's be honest. And it should be provided. It should have been provided. Some groups that I was involved in got some bills put on the Washington State docket a couple of times, and it failed to pass. It failed to pass because the areas that it would have benefited in Washington State are generally the people that listen to crazy talk radio that's completely unregulated, and no one's keeping track of idiots like Dory Monson, who just gets on the radio and talks for 4 hours a day about all these conspiracy theories, but no one's recording it. No one is able to give pushback on that. No one can. You can't rewind. You can't rewind the radio realistically. And it's a real interesting. It's a real interesting issue because most of these issues have so many layers that need to happen. Right? And a good example of that would be people are complaining about the roads right now. We had this big deep freeze. We had this big deep freeze here for about a week and a half with a lot of snowfall and melt and refreeze and this and that. So we have potholes showing up, right? Well, you got to understand, if you have asphalt roads, you're going to have potholes after a big giant freeze like that because moisture gets below the asphalt, gets into the ground layer, freezes, expands, then thaws, right? So, but if you try to explain that to the average person, they just start screaming about how the government is garbage and there's potholes, right? And you're like, you understand, all this stuff has to be repaired now because of the weather that happened outside, right? But we can't have those conversations because we're too busy screaming about people paying too much in taxes when the reality is that the realistic number that Americans pay in overall tax is about 48% because all of the stuff that we have to pay for out of pocket is just at an astounding level now. But if you try to talk to somebody about that, they go, I get taxed too much. And you go, how much did you get taxed? I don't know. I got taxed too much. Okay, how much was it? Do you even know what your taxes were from last? No, they don't know. Yeah. Rommel Bynum says, I'm telling you, the Democratic Party is not any better than the Republicans. I'm a left-leaning person of color, and I know the Dems are not on the side of black people. We are being fooled and manipulated. I guess if that's how you view the world, I'm going to ask you a question. If that's how you view the world, where do all the hyper-racist groups end up? Which political party? Where do they vote, right? Who do they vote for? Ask yourself that question. Then reassess whatever it was that you just decided to say. Because the Democrats aren't any better. Okay, I get it. Maybe the Democrats aren't doing what you want them to be doing. Maybe the liberals aren't doing what you want them to be doing. That's how our governing body works, okay? There's no authoritarian rule, okay? You don't just elect a liberal governor and then they just come in and change everything. That's not how our system of governance works. We need people to vote. We need representatives to go into office in order to put legislation in so that projects can be funded and things can be done, right? And there are so many layers to get through because We don't have authoritarian rule in this country. Okay? We don't. So to claim that you've been manipulated somehow, that's not even, Rommel, that's not even an argument. All right. I mean, this is the problem. Rommel, if you want to call in, feel free to call in, and we can put you on record if that's the situation, if that's what we got going on. Yeah, I understand. Biden misspeaks all the time, and is Biden a super old, decrepit dude? Sure. Are you analyzing the whole entire his whole administration, all of the people that work? All the people that work for the administration? Are you analyzing that? Or are you saying, hey, Biden said this one thing this one time? Okay, great. Are you analyzing all of the people that were brought in? Yeah, I really doubt it. Corvus said, what, 20 months in and people getting their fourth booster? People have to, when... There are a lot of inoculations out there that you have to get booster shots for. I mean, there are a lot of shots out there that you have to get booster shots for. That it's just how that works. And, if that's your reasoning for not wanting to get vaccinated, I don't know what to tell you. Honestly, I would love to see the numbers of deaths with people who already have immune issues, smokers, drug users, etc. Where are these numbers? How many healthy humans died? Fish Tropic, if that's how you want to analyze the world around you, if that's how you want to analyze the world around you, then I guess if you've led some kind of flawless life where you work out like at least 45 minutes a day, you've never eaten any candy, you've never done, I mean, if you've somehow led some kind of life like that, then okay. But needless to say, like, if somebody's born with diabetes, is that an issue? Is that an issue that you take into account? Or somebody that breaks their leg during the pandemic and has a problem, right? Like, is that something you're taking into account? Because we talk about this air quote healthy people, right? Which is this whole situation which you could easily bring up Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan's an idiot. And I wholeheartedly will say that. I've listened to a lot of his content, and he's not a bright guy. He's been hyper-radicalized by hanging out with really crazy people. And he's lost his mind. And the whole time, and by the way, if you want to go and look at and go listen to a bunch of his podcasts and all the stuff about how you got to be healthy, COVID's not a big deal. If you're healthy, you'll just fight it off and blah, blah, blah. What happened when he got sick? He took like 7 crazy medications, including monoclonal antibodies, which, by the way, is that not a crazy medication? He took a bunch of non-vetted medications. He took a whole litany of medications because he's got to, air quote, throw the kitchen sink at it. Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous, and the idea is that, like, oh, everybody should just be healthy, and then yeah, nobody would ever get sick. But that's not really the reality of how the world works, or biology, or any of that. Jay's Crazy Obsession says, hope all is well, Corvus. Thanks, and thumbs up. Just found out that Olivia's daycare is closed for another 2 weeks. So if you guys haven't been tracking with the show, Olivia caught COVID from daycare last month. Got sick, couldn't go back to daycare anymore. Got Vicky and I sick, couldn't go back to daycare. Christmas was canceled. All that, blah, 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 do all that stuff. She was basically out for close to, at least 3 weeks, if not longer than that, because of how the weekends line up and all that. Started going back, and now her daycare is closed again for 2 weeks again, because somebody else has COVID now. So are things going well? Hey, I hope you guys know I'm happy and healthy. And a lot of people out there are very easy to misconstrue the fact that I have criticisms of the things that are going on, right? I do have criticisms of the things that are going on, and a lot of people out there would go, he's un-American. He doesn't like America. Ugh. I'm 100% American. I was born here. I was raised here. I live here. I support this country. To somehow expect a total lack of criticism of the things that are going on around you from somebody just because America, right? Like, you got to be delusional. You got to be delusional to think that I don't love the people of this country, that I don't love this place. Of course I do, 100%. That doesn't devalue anywhere else in the world, though, either. You know what I mean? Ramul Bynum says, Biden pushed the crime bills that put people like my father in prison. Yep. And I would disagree with that, but he did pass the crime bills because everybody wanted to pass the crime bill. Maybe you're not old enough to remember, but in 1993, the United States was insanely dangerous. Crime was at an all-time high. Everybody wanted that crime bill passed, whether you were a liberal, whether you were a conservative. It didn't matter who you were back then. They wanted that. Everyone wanted that crime bill passed. And if you want to argue with me against that, feel free. Feel free to argue with me against that, because I guess if you want to rewrite history, feel free to try to do that, I guess. But historically speaking, when those crime bills were coming up, everybody wanted that passed because the United States was way more dangerous, way more crime-riddled than it is now. And I think it's a bummer how a lot of that stuff worked out. I do believe that our prison system and our justice system is certainly flawed, and it definitely needs to be addressed. It definitely needs changes. But if we're talking about making changes within the system, we need education, we need training, we need the ability to do these things that we want done, right? And the idea that, I don't know, there'll just be no taxes, right, is not going to work, right? If we want police officers to be more educated, we need to pay for them to go get educated, right? If we want if we want there to be better follow-up with policing, we need to be able to pay in order to investigate and find out what's going on with our policing. If you want body cameras on every police officer walking around, guess what? Body cameras cost money. If you want to save all of that video, it costs money. All this stuff costs money, right? And it's a thing. Nate Hill says politics sucks. Cool, man. Good on you. I hope you go find like a part of the world that doesn't have politics in it, that doesn't have anybody involved. It's just like some free land of no one around. I hope you can find that. Yo, Boba Fett with the 45-minute episode boss move. That's right. I really like Boba Fett. Nate Hill won't like Boba Fett because there's politics in it, so he won't like that. But yeah, the newest episode of Boba Fett, I really liked it. I really liked it. It was really good. That second episode was strong, buddy. It was strong. Very well done. First episode for me was kind of lacking a little bit. I felt like, I had that feeling like, well, I guess that was the start, but episode 2 was strong. Yeah, Rommel said, I love how everyone isn't dragging me in the chat. That's right. Like I said, I'm about building a community. I don't want angry, crazy, toxic people around. And the thing is, we all have differing opinions. But that doesn't mean that like everything's a conspiracy, that everything's crazy. Yeah, that's not the case. And that's not how I view the world, right? Like I said, there's 5 or 10% on either end of the spectrum that are totally crazy, and that's not where I exist. People go, "Oh, you're super liberal." Yeah, man. I'm a liberal guy. because I want to promote the rights of all people to be able to live their experience the way that they want to live their experience, as long as it's not affecting other people. Because that's one of the reasons I like America. The pieces of paper all say that they're supposed to do that. Whether we've been doing that or not is the question. And I think there are better ways to apply the efforts that America has been putting in to, creating a country for a lot of people, which we do have. 350 million people ain't no joke. I just want those things to be applied better within this community. And one of the reasons I'm a little bit upset by that is that, I'm a small business owner. I work for a small business. I rely on daycare to watch my daughter so that I can work, right? And how am I supposed to be able to do that when a part of the community is completely ignoring what is going on around them on purpose, right? And it's on purpose. It's willful, right? Like, no one is forcing them to have wild, wacky opinions and stuff. Went to the grocery store earlier today. 98% of the people there all masked up, trying to not get germs on each other and stuff like that. But there's the Karen that's got to be, I've got an immune system. Let's start a big scene in the grocery store, right? People are just trying to pick up their groceries. They're just trying to do their thing. And yet Karen's got to make a big scene, right? About how she won't be masked at the store, right? And it's like, why is it the people that refuse to be masked are the ones that are screaming and spitting all over the place out in the public situation, right? And it's a bummer, dude. It's a bummer, man. Rommel says, I respect your opinion. I won't be unsubscribing or venting or anything. You didn't insult me. You attacked my views, but not my person. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Is like, I have faults, for sure, and I've definitely insulted people in my life. That is not my objective, and it's not my goal, and it's generally not who I am. I generally like to have conversations about ideas of how things could be applied in a better way, and that's one of the reasons that it's who I am, Oh, the secret history says, I'm literally sitting in the Safeway parking lot and watching some asshole refuse to put a mask on as we speak. Yeah, I mean, it's just, those are the same people that don't wash their hands in the bathroom. Those are the same people that double dip the chip. They double dip the chip. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Somebody have a heater question? HDJC says, heater question, didn't see. Eheim Jaeger plus Amazon thermostat is what I use. I didn't see a heater question. I don't know. If somebody has a heater question, throw it back in there. I'm currently using the Fluval ones. By the way, this would be a sponsored link from Amazon. We're trying to take a, if we're having to buy something, we're trying to take $1 out of Bezos's pocket because we're doing the advertising for it. That's how it's sponsored. Heater. Let me see. Where are the heaters that I'm using? I am currently using these ones. These are the ones that I'm using. Text. Yes, and I've actually bought these with my own money. In case anybody's wondering. Paste. Boom. There you go. These are the heaters that I work because they have the built-in thermostat, the little screen. They seem to work pretty well as long as you have water moving past them. That is seemingly their one issue, is that they do not like to be sitting in stagnant water. But other than that, these have worked out fairly well. I know that the co-op has sold a lot of them, and rarely do they come back broken and whatnot. But I feel like if you buy it off of Amazon, you could probably return it within a reasonable amount of time or something like that, or buy it at a local store where you could exchange it for sure. But I've specifically been using these ones. I used to use the Eheim heaters. Which ones did I used to use? Let me find a link for them. Yeah, the Jaeger heaters. These ones. Wait a minute. What's that one? Don't want to post the wrong one. Oh, I guess the Eheim ones actually have a thermostat in them now. What is this? What is this, new? Is this new? Oh my god. Speaking of new technology, oh my god. Yeah, but this one says 25 watt. I don't know. Anyhow, I used to swear by these heaters because rarely did I ever have them fail. Rarely have I ever had an Eheim heater fail. I actually had one. That was known to be like 20 years old and it still worked. But I used to swear by these ones. They seem to be a little bit cheaper than the Fluvalls for sure. So that might be a little bit of savings for you. I used to use I used to use heaters with a thermostat controller. So I used to use it with a thermostat controller until I had a thermostat break, and I realized that more often than not, if you're using a thermostat, that's probably going to be the weakest link because it's likely going to be pretty cheap piece of equipment. And you know, I went to some of the old timers and I was like, what do you think about these? And they're like, oh, those are pretty much crap. Not Aquarium old timers, but I actually went to some old plumbers and was asking them about the technology in there, and they were like, it's not good. It's not good. You know, not a good deal to be using those thermostats. And the thermostats that they recommended were like $300. And I was like, can't I just buy an all-in-one heater that's going to work pretty well? And so I went with those Fluvalls, and so far they've worked pretty well. I've from the Amazon record here, the last times that I bought them was 2018. So 2018, 2019, 19 to 20, 20 to 21, and now it's 2022. Let's just call it 3 years. It's definitely not 4 years yet, but I could say 3 years of constant use has worked pretty well with those. Yeah. Oh my God, we have no super chats, no new members, no nothing. Oh, well, at least hit the like button. There's like 9,000 of you here. Hit the like button. So I could say that I have said it, right? I know that I've been a little bit crass today, a little bit, I guess. I'm sure people will be like, oh my God, he's such a crank, you know, but the reality is I have a small platform here. I have a small platform, and I love to talk to you guys about plants. I love to talk to you guys about fish. I love to talk to you guys about aquariums, but we are not a one-dimensional community. We're not only affected by our fish tanks and stuff like that, and it's very strange to me that people would go, could you come on here for 2 hours twice a week and just continually talk about adding salt to an aquarium or not, or adding glutaraldehyde because you have algae, or hey, you should probably do a water change, right? So we do talk about other stuff because other things in the world are constantly going on. If people have questions and stuff like that, you always throw them in there. You can always throw them to me on email. You can always throw don't Instagram message me if we're not friends. Don't Facebook message me if we're not friends. I generally speaking will ignore that. If you're somebody that we don't know, I don't know, just email me. Contact information is on my YouTube channel information page, whatever that's called. Or you can become a member or a patron, and you get access to our Discord. You can always chat to me on our Discord. We also have a Minecraft server. You guys could come on and play Minecraft. You could yell at me about fish tank stuff on Minecraft if you wanted to. So there's lots that could be happening if you guys were interested. And definitely join up with the community. We got to update our members here. We lost a member. We don't know who they are because we don't like to call out people for canceling their membership. Sometimes people cancel their membership. Sometimes their credit card expires. I can literally say today, I didn't realize that my debit card was not in one solid piece. Apparently, it was broken in my pocket, and I wanted to go take money out of the bank account from the ATM, and I couldn't do that because it's broken. So, hey, I don't blame you. I literally got the dang thing in my pocket, and I didn't even realize it was physically broken. Yeah. Corvus, did you go to Minecore? I don't know what Minecore is, so I don't think so. Jay's Crazy says, I have a hang on the back heater most younger aquarium hobbyists have never seen one. It was before my time, I know that, and yes, it works. Yes, I did try it. I'm totally confused by that sentence. I don't know why. Maybe I'm having a stroke. You never know. But if I keel over, call Vicky and tell her that I've keeled over. Do you get higher payouts from Patreon or YouTube? YouTube takes a bigger cut because YouTube does that. But YouTube is $5 a month. That's the minimum. And Patreon, you can do as little as $1 a month. Some people opt for the annual membership because you save 10%. So for $10.80 for the whole entire year, you could be a member. So that's like, some people like that. Some people like to do that because that's that's like the most economic thing. It's less than $1 a month, and you have a membership for a whole entire year. That's the best that I can do, as opposed to just leaving every door wide open in my house and going broke for hoping to try and like heat the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? You get what I mean. But it's the cheapest I can do. So the payouts, they just are what they are. I pay taxes on everything. I'm a small business owner, so don't ever worry about that. Just like people supporting is cool, and I'm never stressed out about the like, oh man, I need to pay a fee. It's fine. I have to pay fees everywhere. It's just life. I accept whether or not I'm going to be doing business as a critical analysis, and it's all good. Sir Thrax says, are you still keeping your tanks? I miss seeing them. Yep, I'm still keeping my tanks. As I've mentioned a few times, I'm making a bunch of long format videos as fish tank stuff. I do have some new plant videos coming out. I actually ran into somebody at the co-op the other day who was like, man, I love your plant videos. When are you making more of those? And I will be making more of those. A lot of that stuff's in the works. Making scripts, doing all that kind of stuff it's time consuming. And I did show you guys some of the analytics, which I know everybody hates analytics, but it was an easy way to show people how difficult it is to be a small YouTube creator when you realize that you take like so I took like my top performing video from last year or whatever, and you go, oh, it made $48 in 12 months. I probably worked on it for 12 hours, which means that I potentially made $4 an hour, but it took a year to collect the $4 an hour in like incremental payments throughout the whole year, which I don't know about you guys. If there's somewhere in the world that you could make $4 an hour and be, living in a house, having internet, having things work properly, you let me know, and I'll consider moving there, because we are moving from this house. We have a lot of changes coming up here pretty soon. We have a couple properties that we looked at. One of them actually has like 90% of the hydroponics that I actually am planning on building in the new property. Now, the only unfortunate part of that is that it is farther away than I want to move. So I'm legitimately going like, oh my God, this house is the price It has a wood shop and an aquaponics area and a house, blah, blah, blah. But it is an extra drive. It's an extra drive. So that's the problem right now, is trying to find a property that's not completely out of driving range and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. We got a $10 super chat from Terry. Oh, my God, Terry. As Billy Joel would say, I love you just the way you are. Oh, thank you. Right? I love you just the way you are. But I guess on the payout thing, if you guys wanted to go to Patreon, you can. It's a very easy URL, www.patreon.com/JOEL_C. That's me. You can go there. You can join up if you like, or you can just click the blue button down there, and then you got to put in information, bloppity bloppity bloop. And one of the cool things about Patreon is that like you could become a $15,000 a month patron if you like. It's the top tier that they allowed me to make. On there is pretty much a joke, but you could custom put in whatever you want. If you wanted to sponsor this channel, let's say you're a wealthy business owner and you wanted to sponsor me to be an independent filmmaker via YouTube, you could sponsor this channel if you're that guy. Or maybe you're a big business owner. Maybe you're Jeff Bezos and you're like, I've got an extra $1 billion here and it's freaking me out, so I got to give it to old Gerald over here. That's me. And see if you can't start making better MCU films. Secret History says some Higer rep messaged me last week and said they're releasing an inline heater thermostats with canister filter first in the... I delete any messages I get from weird companies like Higer. I don't even know if they're real. I don't know if they're verifiable. I don't know if there's any way to verify where any of that's real or not. You know what I mean? So, if they're, I get contacted by weird companies that always seem like total scams. Whether or not they have a heater that's going to work, that's going to be an inline heater or not, can't tell you. Couldn't tell you if their products are going to work or not. But I've gotten messages from those guys or gals or whoever they are. I don't know. And it always seems fishy to me. Every company that I've had a literal contact with that I knew was verifiably real, they've all denied me being a paid sponsor. And it's a long list. It's far too long of a list for me to get down about, because it's literally like they go, oh, how many YouTube subscribers do you have? And I go, like, does that matter? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, how many Facebook friends do you have? And I'm like, does that matter? And they're like, yeah. They're like, how many Instagram followers do you have? And it's just like, okay, I get it. They don't want to sponsor content. They just literally want to make sales. And I'm not that much of a salesman. I really am not. I'll tell you if something sucks or if something works. I really couldn't get behind a company. Actually, let me rephrase this. If a company paid me millions and millions of dollars, I probably would be like, I would figure out a way to tell you to try something. You know what I mean? I legit would do that. I don't know how I would pull it off, but I would attempt to pull it off in a way that you guys would know I wasn't being sincere, right? So everyone would know I literally got paid a lot of money to tell you to try a thing. Off the top of my head, I don't know what that would look like, but I for sure would do it that way. That's what I would do. Oh my God, we got a new member during the show today. Oh my God, it's like a revelation. This Friday is like a revelation out here. We'll see becoming a member on a Friday, which brings us to 71. And somebody asked me, like, what was it going to take to go full-time on YouTube? It's getting this combined number over here up to 1,000. 1,000 members, and I'll start doing this full-time. Nathan Lindley, hello from the UK, fellow Planted Tank enthusiast from Manchester. Ooh, Man U. Dangerous football team. Unverifiable in my experience, except for over 20 years ago. I interacted with them, and they were extraordinary footballers, aka soccer players. They're wild. Chad Kratz, who's been a member for a grip, he's using his member post, says, love the plant videos. Speaking of, I have a 120-gallon tall, 24-inch high. What's a good plant that grows tall but not buck wild? Well, that's the unfortunate part is that almost every single tall growing plant is essentially going to grow buck wild. That's why he has that ability to grow tall. But Ludwigia, any Ludwigia, is going to essentially be my advice for a plant that grows tall, does grow buck wild, but is reasonable to trim and replant, right? So like maintaining it is relatively easy. If you're talking about Ludwigia repens, if you're talking about the weird ones like what is that, Piroensis, what is that, Perniensis, I don't know. I can't remember how to say it now. But a lot of the Ludwigia varietals, there's a bunch of different kinds, a bunch of different types, a lot of variants between them. Oh my God, someone's using my image on Ludwigia. That's what I get for taking like high def images of plants and then just posting them on the internet. That's hilarious. Somebody's using my Ludwigia image on their Amazon post. That is funny. Okay, well, whatever. I don't care. That's fine. I mean, really, the only reason I bring it up is I was just shocked that anybody would use anything that I've ever made. That is so funny. But yeah, I think if I was going for a big background plant, I would go for Ludwigia varietals. Like I said, there's so many cool types out there. I'm sure you could find something available. And it's just like a really fun plant to play with. You can utilize it. It'll fill in a lot of space, or you can trim it down, replant it, keep it. It's really easy to maintain. So that's where I would recommend that you could grow it up big background plant, but not crazy. Man U is dangerous, but City is way ahead this season. Yeah, that's the thing, S. I don't know what's going on now. I could verify like 24 years ago that they were real good. I can say that because we literally got not beat up. That's not the right way to put it. We just got destroyed by Man U when we played them. Scrimmage game. And it was clear after about 15 minutes that there's no way we were going to even remotely compete with them. Rommel Bynum became a member. Oh, my God. We have 2 members today? Oh, my God. 2 members today. What are we going to do with that? What are we going to do with that information? Whew, that's rough. That is rough. Thank you, Rommel. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Terry, for becoming Terry was already been a member. Terry's been supporting this channel for a really long time, and I feel like, you guys got to understand. I feel like I owe you guys a debt of gratitude, and I actually encourage that feeling in myself. That's not something I would be like sad about or upset. I continue to work whenever I can to continue to make content for you guys. I like doing the live streams right now. Like today was crazy hectic. I didn't even make it to the post office. My apologies to Reaver if you're out there. I've got that light ballast. I've now got the box because I made it to the post office to get the box. I dug all around in my shop. I didn't have a ships it fits box. So I went to the post office earlier today. I got the box. I came back here, and I was going to go to the post office, and then this whole disaster with Olivia's daycare going into quarantine again. So 2 weeks from now, she can go back to daycare, I guess. So we're just out here, like, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, dude. And it's a bummer. It's a huge bummer. Aquamain, really digging my Ludwigia Pantanal. Yes, Pantanal is a cool plant. That is a really cool plant. I I have yet to I've yet to encounter a varietal of Ludwigia I didn't like. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. Nathan Lindley. I don't know if I've ever read that before. Haha. I'm not into football, but I have spent £10,000 on a 10-foot high-tech planet tank, and I have just rescaped it. A 10-foot high-tech planted tank? Wow. And I've just rescaped it. It would be great to send some pics and chat about it. Anybody that wants to send in pictures, if you want to chat, any of that kind of stuff, you become a member. You get to join up on our Discord. You can always call in if you like. You can call into shows whenever I open the voice chat on the shows. So once you join up on the Discord, it's a very simple process. If you become a member on YouTube, you go to the community page, since we have new members today. Go to the community page. So go to my YouTube channel, community page, scroll down, and you'll find the Discord post. Because once you're a member, you'll actually be able to see all the community posts that are for members only. And in the future, this year in 2022, just so you guys know, members will have early access to videos that are coming out on this channel. So plant videos and stuff like that, you guys are all going to have early access to checking that stuff out, probably quite a while before it gets released on the channel, I think. Will most likely be the chance. Will most likely be the situation. I don't want to say it's going to come out a day early and then be wrong, but stuff's going to come out before for members and stuff ahead of time. Let's see. We'll give you $15 million for a positive review on the Han Solo movie. Oh my God. For $15 million, I could figure it out. I will be honest. I will be honest right here, S, and say, who made Han Solo? Was it Sony? Who made the Solo movie? Who was the producer on that? Lucas? Was it just Lucasfilm and Disney? It was distributed by Disney, but who made it? I don't know, whatever. I guess if Disney came to me and they said, we're going to give you $15 million for that, I would figure it out. There's not a whole lot I probably wouldn't do for $15 million. And if people don't think that $15 million is a lot of money, that's a lot of money. That is a serious amount of money. That's FU money. Let's be honest. That's FU money because I would immediately invest that and live off the dividends. Immediately. The moment it hit my hand, I would turn around and invest it right away. Probably beforehand. I don't know. Yeah, so, I mean, that's a lot of money. I could probably figure it out. Even Manscaped products. I mean, if Manscaped wanted to sponsor my channel, I probably could make that work. Mainly because I have a lot of plants and a lot of trimming and stuff in my content. So I could do an easy play on trimming plants and bushes and all that kind of stuff for Manscaped. I think, unfortunately, their contract is in my understanding from people that are sponsored by Manscaped, their contract is a little bit, based off of how big your presence is, sort of situation, which is never really a great. It's never a really great contract to be under, because it's one of those things that would be we'll pay you $425 to do a big ad on their products or whatever, and you're like, I don't know. I don't know if I want everybody to think about me shaving my genitalia for $400. You know what I mean? People are just sitting around lamenting about whether or not I shave my genitals or whatever. It's a little bit weird. So it'd probably have to be a decent amount of money, to make a good commercial for them. But speaking of the products that we were talking about. This is the product I wanted to talk about today, because the company that I bought filter material from, I used to buy it in the rolls, and I still do buy it in the rolls, but I'm buying it from a new company. I made a community post about it earlier today. For whatever reason, I don't think it got out there very well, but it was one of the things that I wanted to talk about. There's a new filter material I'm using. After 7 weeks, I'm really happy with it, and I'm probably going to order. Not probably. I am going to order more in the future. But people have specific questions, and by the way, if you become a member, I will definitely be answering your questions more often than not, because your name is super highlighted, and I know you're supporting the channel, so that's kind of how that goes. Will C said Disney. Oh, yeah. I don't know if Disney made it, though. Normally, like, a production company makes it, and then Disney will distribute it, right? It's a subtle difference, but you know how it is. Rommel says, is Water Sprite sensitive to salt? It was the only part in my tanks that seemed impacted by the small amount that I used. Water Sprite, I would say yes. Just thinking back in my history of messing around with Water Sprite, Water Sprite's one of those weird plants where it's like, it's super durable, it grows like crazy, and then there'll be a slight change in something with your water, and it will just like devastatingly affect it, right? Not that it's like a sensitive plant, it's that specific conditions like really inhibit the growth and the health of that plant. And I would definitely say that salt would be on the list. But if I'm adding salt to the tank, is generally a time where I'm trying to save the living inhabitants, the creature inhabitants that are in there. And as you guys know, as much as I love plants, I will always sacrifice plants to save fish or shrimp or whatever I'm trying to save in the tank. Always. Always, 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 always. Because it's much easier for me to grow new plants than it is to hope that a fish is no longer dead. You know what I mean? If I got dead plants, I can always order a trimming. I can always order a small pot, and I can grow more of it, and it's not going to be a big deal. It's sort of the vegan argument, right? The argumentation that, like, oh, I only eat plants, so I'm good or whatever. But the reality is plants don't have a kind of consciousness that we understand. So, killing off plants is not a big deal. And that's just how I interface with the world, I guess, realistically. It's like I don't get sad when somebody cuts down wheat and grinds it up and makes flour and then makes bread. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. How much magnesium sulfate do you dose per week? Give us an example of a size of tank and how much it takes. I realistically don't dose magnesium sulfate. I just don't. So 0 and 0. Yeah, I don't. I really don't. But I guess rule of thumb with magnesium sulfate is Epsom salt, right? Yeah, I mean, if you're dosing salt, I'm trying to remember 3 tablespoons per 10 gallons. So is what I think. Is that what I was doing before? Salt dosing aquarium per gallon. I think I was doing 3 tablespoons. 3 tablespoons per gallon, I think, is what I was doing before. 1 rounded tablespoon for every 5 gallons is what this says. So I think I was doing 3. Yeah, I was doing 3 tablespoons per 10 gallons. So whatever that comes out to liters and whatever is that, you'd have to figure that out. Let's go liter. Yeah, because they're saying 1 tablespoon per 5 gallons, and I was doing 3 per 10 is what I was doing before. So, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so I don't know what that is in metric off the top of my head, so don't get mad at me. if I don't know what that is. I don't have the metric system here. I live in the United States. We don't really use the metric system at all. And so I can't convert it in my head very, very fast without a calculator or whatever. Terry's Tropical Tanks just ordered a roll. That stuff looks cool if it's reusable to a point. It is reusable to a point in my experience. It's not forever reusable. That's for sure. Where do I order my plants these days? There are a few different places that I order plants from. One of them is, oh God, what's the name of that website? Oh my God, I feel like I should have the hot tip off the top of my head. It's in my bookmarks. Where's my bookmarks at? Oh God, it's not in there. Hold on. I'll look it up over here. I got to look it up in this other thing. This will take a second. I think it's Aquarium Creations, but I might be wrong. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, Liquid Creations. There it is. Thomas Bartlett runs Liquid Creations. I love that website. I love what he's doing there. I've always liked... he has a lot of crazy stuff that are grown in tanks. They're not drop shipped. Companies that do drop shipping, especially with plants, drive me nuts. They piss me off. I hate it. I don't want to do business with them. If I experience that, I will never order from them again. And there are a bunch of YouTubers that do that, and they piss me off. And I'm not calling anybody out specifically, but if you happen to be watching the show right now and you do that, I don't like what you're doing. And if you guys don't understand what drop shipping is, it's basically you set up a website that says you have something for sale for a certain price. When people order it, you make a payment, they take that money, and then they order those plants from the farms, then they ship them to themselves, then they put them in a box and they ship them to you. Is essentially the easy way to explain that. That drives me insane. I hate it, and it's a stupid business practice, and I don't think, they're literally operating as the literal middleman. You're like literally the middleman. You don't do anything other than just like take people's money and buy stuff with it and then give them the thing that you ordered with your wholesaler's license. I feel like if people are going to order from those guys, you should just get your own wholesaler's license and order from the farms directly. Considerate of you that I'm working in liters. Well, the 10-foot planted tank is 550 U.S. gallons. At the minute, I'm dosing around 7 teaspoons of NPK and 2 teaspoons of trace, 14 teaspoons of magnesium. I'm trying to think of the math in my head. I'd have to find my old dosing schedule. If you're going from dry ferts and stuff, it really... Hold on, I got a crazy hangnail here. I got to use my planted... If you guys want to see what I'm doing, I'm using my aquascaping scissors to cut this hangnail off. There we go. That's better. Oh, we could even get the small... We could even get the fine aquascape scissors that are sitting here. Oh, these ones are even better. There we go. Hangnail cut off. I'm trying to think of my old dosing schedule. I'd have to find it. If you're using dry ferts, it's been such a long time since I've used dry ferts. I don't want to give you measurements off the top of my head because it's been a really long time since I've been doing EI dosing and all that kind of stuff. I literally use it's not all in one, but I use Easy Green from Aquarium Co-op. I'm obviously embedded in the Aquarium Co-op, and I do like the Easy Green. I use Easy Iron also, so I don't really have to worry too much. God, I've got this like phlegm thing going on today. It's just bugging me out, and I keep coughing into the microphone. I'm very sorry about that. Yeah. But yeah, it's been a long time since I've been doing EI dosing and that kind of stuff, and I've been literally just dosing with Easy Green for quite a bit, so can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but what's the EI dosing schedule? I have to find it through my old notes. Let me see if I can find it here. EI dosing notes. Oh my God, this might be it. I might have been able to find it. No, that's not it. Okay, let's read. We got to do some reading. Oh, maybe I have to. Okay, there we go. 2014. Oh my God. Okay. Let's see here. I am not seeing it in here. Man, I was hoping I could find it. You know what? It'll take me a while to find my EI dosing schedule. It's in here somewhere. It's just not. It's not in this folder. So it's probably in a different like notes folder. I'd have to find it, and I'm not finding it right now. So it's definitely top tier content right now. Top tier content. But I'll see if I can find it. Yeah. Nathan says, wish I was in the U.S. for this hobby, though. Everything is bigger and better for fish keeping in the United States. No, it's not. Where are you? You're in the UK? You're a 30-minute flight. No, I'm over-exaggerating. Sorry. You're an hour flight away from much better aquascaping, much better equipment, much better wholesalers, fish wholesalers, all that stuff. Trust me, I've been all around the United States. I've been not all around Europe, but I've been a bunch of places in Europe. Europe's probably it's hard to gauge what it is, but Europe's like at least 5 years ahead of the US. For sure. If not 10 years. Believe you me, if you want to come to the United States to visit, awesome. Great place. Lots of cool stuff going on here. But between the United States and Europe, Europe's way ahead. If you're in the EU, Aquasabi, Green Aqua, I would 100% recommend going to Green Aqua if you can. I mean, I know it's in Hungary. I do plan on going back there again. I've only been there once. They'd only been open for, when we were there, they'd probably only been open for like 3 or 4 months or something like that. They didn't even have a YouTube channel. They didn't even have a YouTube channel at the time, but they were TV and video guys. A lot of the guys at Green Aqua, they had plans to start making content way ahead of time, and they all had the know-how and a lot of the equipment and all that stuff. So it's badass. It's a badass store, badass place to go. If you can go to Green Aqua, I would go. It's an awesome place, man. It's badass. But there's a ton of other awesome places in Europe, that's for sure. I do want to go to the UK at some point. Obviously, the last 2 years of pandemic have been like crazy for travel. But if I was in the UK, I would 100% consider definitely go to Green Aqua if you can visit. But I would say like you guys have much better conventions than we do. Like Vivarium in the Netherlands. Like I hope to go to Vivarium this year. Hopefully it doesn't get canceled again. We'll see what happens pandemic-wise. But, we'll see how it goes. Oh, my God, we got a new patron. Oh, my God, we got a new patron during the show. Oh, my God. It's been so long. It's been so long since we've had a new patron during the show. Everybody, welcome Roseanne. Welcome, Roseanne, to the fold. And that gives us 143 patronizers today. If you sign up on Patreon, you will get automatically linked to the Discord and all that. It'll automatically link your account and stuff and say, hey, do you want to go to the Discord? That's one of the things that's kind of cool with Patreon. It's linked up and very, very cool. Rommel says, is the U.S. #1 at anything that's not war, politics related? U.S. citizen asking. Yeah, I mean the U.S. is number one in a whole bunch of stuff, but it's definitely not number one in everything. And most Americans, if you ask them, go to USA number one, right? It's a little bit wacky. We're very innovative. A lot of innovation happens here. Economic things for sure are very robust here. Um, I mean, it's hard to say just off the top of my head what we're number one in, but we're definitely not number one in education. We're definitely not number one in freedom. We're definitely not number one in a whole bunch of stuff that we claim to be. So, but there's a lot of opportunity here. There's 350 million awesome people living here. There's a bunch of great stuff going on. The United States is number one in, by the way, federally owned parks and land. Most countries don't have that. Most countries do not have publicly owned land like we do. So we're probably number one in publicly owned land. How about that? Have you ever been out to our national parks? You won't see a lot of that in other countries. It's just you're just outside. You're just outside, and they're like, "Who owns this?" And they're like, "I don't know, some dude." Big D Smoke has a good point. We're number one in fast food restaurants and supermarkets. I don't know. I've been to other countries, and there's a lot of fast food there too. There's a lot of food everywhere. Because guess what? Everybody needs food. Everybody needs food. Everybody needs food. Basic human right. Basic human right. Yeah. We're number one in PhDs for foreign students. Yeah, I think that's true. In spite of all the culture war BS, you guys have that melting pot of culture like nowhere else. Very true. Very true. We do have the melting pot. That is for sure. But as far as like, culture war BS, it's hard to say. Like, I guess we're number one in like Hollywood production, right? Like we make tons of content. We're probably number one in content creation, right? Yes, my state, New York, has the largest reserve land in the East. I'll give the U.S. that. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good things everywhere, but that's my point, is that there's a lot of good things everywhere. You know what I mean? So that's always been my point, is that like maybe you don't like Algeria for some reason or whatever, but guess what? There's probably a bunch of cool-ass stuff going on in Algeria also, right? And that's the way of the world. All the world, there's issues everywhere. But there's also like so much awesome good stuff going on everywhere. That's why I try to tell people to like attempt to travel, attempt to engage with other cultures and stuff like that. It's very important. Because the reality is you start to realize like, oh yeah, the people, they're all the same. They all want the same stuff. They just want a good place for their kids to grow up. They want to be able to eat and be healthy and do well and be sheltered and blah, 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 and be creative and, all that good stuff. Everybody wants to do that. Nah, it needs to be long tube shape for breeding. Coconut huts are perfect for apistos and many other cichlids, though. Oh, you guys must be talking about pleco breeding. Solid wood, solid caves, not full of holes. What are you guys talking about? Choyo wood? I was just in a Zoom talk with Mass yesterday about plecos. Now I need wood caves. Do you think I can bore decent-sized cave holes in Manzanita, or what driftwood would be best? Oh, do we need to drill wood holes for pleco breeding? Oh my god. Are we getting into that? We should get into that. We need a lathe. That's what we need. Yeah. I think we definitely there's definitely a lot of wood out there that could do it. It's just basically anything that's going into the aquarium that's wood is you want to make sure that it's not going to leach any kind of specific toxin-esque type thing, right? Does that make sense? So you're basically wanting to avoid anything that could be an essential oil, right? I think is a good is a good exhibit of is a good example of like what to steer away from. So like super aromatic wood with lots of oil in it, you want to stay away from. But just hardwoods. Hardwoods is the real key, realistically. Want to stay away from that, and then we could just drill holes into stuff. So it's just a matter of like putting things on the either on a lathe or on a drill press. We'll drill some holes in it, and we'll get holes put in there. Nathan's asking, you used much Cyperus helferi. Mine died badly, and I've pulled all the dying strands, but it's not looking good 2 weeks in. I've grown lots of Cyperus helferi, but this is a plant that just bugs me because of the little little nodules in the leaves. It just, I don't know. It just gives me like a bummer vibe. But if you're looking for like a similar plant that does kind of cooler stuff, you'd want to, I don't know how you spell this. Areocalon Vietnam is what I would go with. I like Areocalon much better. It's a cooler looking plant, has a deeper green to it. It makes a little palm frondy type stuff that gets about as tall. Maybe not as tall as Cyperus, but much better in my opinion. Much better in my opinion plant for the same type of application space. That's what I would go for. That's what I would go for personally. Yeah, I traditionally use the clay caves, but apparently the Blackwater bristlenose prefer holes in wood. Let's drill some wood, man. Yeah, we can do that. We can definitely drill some wood. Weesh fatter. I don't know what weesh fatter means. I probably just said something bad in England. Do any of y'all propagate spider plants out of your tanks? Yes. I just started about a week ago, and any emerged leaves died off in like an hour, and now it's growing submerged ones a couple of days later. That sounds a little bit weird, but spider plants will generally get affected pretty rapidly by stuff. Huge humidity swings or lack of humidity or any of that kind of stuff. But most plants will generally have a air quote die-off period, because as they're adapting to the new environment that you've moved them to, they didn't like slowly end up in that environment. You kind of dramatically moved them to that environment, so their reaction is always going to be generally kind of dramatic. Yeah. So, yeah. I literally made a list of potentially dangerous woods for the aquarium yesterday from the OSHA and poison control info. Yeah. That's the thing. You just basically want anything that can be aromatic type woods, just steer clear of them. But in the United States, manzanita is a perfect example of, you can go to, Manzanita burlwood, I think? Manzanita burlwood. Let's put that in. .com. Manzanita burl. I think it's just manzanita.com. I think that's what it is. .com. Typing. Oh my God. Yeah, Manzanita burlworks at www.manzanita.com.
HTTP
// right? www.manzanita.com. You can buy bulk aquarium wood from there. Most people don't like to go to this website and order stuff from here because you have to call them. People don't like calling people. But you call in your order, you give them your payment information. It's all good, baby. Maybe I can order online. Can you order online now? No. AP2. APN? No, those are just pictures. Yeah, the one issue is that you can't really order on their website and just pay and all that stuff. You have to call up and place an order, and people don't like that. But that's where I like to get my manzanita from. If I'm going manzanita, that's where I get it, because that dude is rad. I've always gotten awesome stuff from him, and very affordable. Went to Taco Bell. Now it's time for Grande. Oh, El Grande Bandejo. Careful. Went to the co-op on my way home. Needed a new USB air pump. Left with Crips and Anubius. Oh, man, you should stop by when I'm there, Carson. You should stop by when I'm there, dude. And we could say hi from a distance with our masks on or whatever. Let's see. Reading. Do I know how to read anymore? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Mate from Manchester, that goatee beard is sick. Well, thank you. I have the beard. I have the beardy of the beard. I kind of trimmed it a little bit weird this morning. I have the weird beard now. Going to Port Townsend next week for Driftwood. Good luck. Old PT. Old Port Townsend, the land of docks, the beach. There's a mountain in the background and a lot of meth heads just wandering about. Don't leave any valuables in your car. You'll lose a window. I'll put it that way. Old Port Townsend. That's a disaster town. You know what I mean? It's a great place, but it's a disaster town. It's very quaint if you're just visiting. Very quaint. Whoa. Uh-oh. There we go. I closed all the windows. I needed to reopen them all. There we go. Nobody cares. You guys don't care. Do you guys care that I closed all the windows? Probably not. Hey, guys, I just received another positive test for COVID. My boss is trying to get me to return to work anyway. I'm a lead line cook, and I'm not comfortable. Thoughts on how to deal? Well, I would say that's not good. It's probably not great if you're testing positive for COVID to go to work and work in close proximity of a lot of people. Thoughts on how to deal with it. I mean, I think realistically, you could probably contact your local health department. I would think that's probably where I would start, or your local, what's it called? The local labor people. You know what I mean? What are they called? Oh my God, the employment department, whatever they're called. I would contact them and see if there's something that you could do to try and figure out like some way to work that out. But I know that if I was running a kitchen and I had people that were testing positive, I would not want them coming in, because people are gonna get sick. You're gonna miss productivity, that's for sure. When all the people get sick and you miss a bunch of people, it's just not gonna go good. It's not gonna go well for anybody involved. So that's what I would do. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what kind of advice to give to people. Like, if you feel like your workplace is treating you poorly, yeah, it's hard to go. But by the CDC recommendations, like if you test positive and you're vaccinated, and if your symptoms have subsided, I think it's 24 hours and you can go back to work. So the quarantine, if you're vaccinated, is much shorter now than it was before. So, yeah. Carson says, should see the reindeer farm in Leavenworth. They're close to 4 feet of snow. It's crazy amounts of snow over there right now. My sister is digging out the house on the other side of the mountains. My sister's over at my mom and her husband's house in Wenatchee, and she was sending me videos the other day of some crazy stuff that was happening snowfall wise. And as far as the reindeer place in Leavenworth, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. And I wonder if I actually have. When would this open? What the hell? Oh my God, we just opened like 900 windows. I clicked on it multiple times like an idiot instead of realizing that it was just going slow. Let me go all the way to the bottom here. We went with Olivia like 2 years ago. Yeah, two winters ago. We went to the reindeer farm, and it was rad. It was super cool. The kid. I don't have multiple kids, but all of my kid plus the other kids that were there had a blast. They were running around. There was a campfire. There was a lot of snow. There was a turkey that was harassing everybody in a really cool, fun way. A lot of good stuff. There was a Santa Claus. They had a good Santa Claus there. We got to take family Santa Claus pictures. I was trying to find a Santa Claus picture, but I can't find it. Yeah. My sister said that she had 10 inches on the ground of snow, and then by the next day she had 4 feet. So whatever the hell that is, 38 inches or something, if it's exact. And then it was still snowing, and they got a lot of snow. I think they got like 4 feet of snow in a day and a half or something like that, which is a wild amount of frozen precipitation for anybody to get, dude. It was wild. And it's still happening. And all of the passes are closed. So we got the old people coming to stay here because they were on this side of the mountains working on a project, and they can't go back home to Wenatchee. So they're going to be here this weekend because all of the mountain passes are closed. All of them are closed. And by the way, if you're thinking there's a way to drive around, there isn't a way to drive around. You'd have to like drive to... There's no way to drive around. There's mountains in the way. Wherever you go. I'm just thinking about it. Wherever you go, there's mountains in the way to get anywhere. Yeah. Alyssa says, I went to Leavenworth once, got some real feral bunnies in Leavenworth. They might have wild bunnies out there, but I don't think that they would last long. There's a lot of coyotes and owls and stuff like that eat bunnies, so I don't know how long they would last. No symptoms, get back to work ASAP. Yeah, Donald. Donald, are you sending messages to yourself? I don't understand. What's going on? You added yourself. The Dalles through Oregon? No, I think they're closed too. I don't think there's any way to go. Yeah, I-5 is closed in Chehalis. So if you wanted to go south on I-5 to get to Oregon, I-5 is closed between exit like 85 and 88 is flooded. I-5 is closed. Nope. You can't go up through Pendleton, Walla Walla, because you have to go over the mountains in order to get there, and everywhere is closed. And you would need to go south. So I think technically there might be a way, but I don't think so. All the passes are closed right now until Sunday. Yeah, Carson says, I wonder how far south into California you'd have to go, but you can't get to Oregon via I-5. I-5 is closed in Chehalis. It's flooded. The Interstate 5 is flooded. By the way, to those people that don't understand when I say I-5, it's like a major interstate. It's like 4 lanes wide and 4 lanes wide, and it's flooded. You can't drive. There's a flood. Yeah, it's bad. It's totally crazy over here right now, weather-wise. Yeah. Well, I hear a wild ruckus going upstairs, and we don't have any super chats hanging. So let's give a shout-out to our new members today, Will C. and Rommel Bynum. Thank you guys for becoming new members. I very much appreciate it. Hope to see you guys on the Discord and maybe in Minecraft. Maybe you don't like to play Minecraft, but we were out there building stuff, doing things, which, by the way, the Minecraft server is open to the public now. You do not have to be a member anymore. You do not have to be a member anymore to be to join up onto the Minecraft server. But what you do have to do is you do have to go over to this Discord right here, and our moderation team will allow you access. We will whitelist your account, and you'll be able to join up, and you'll get directions on where to go. And if you have any questions or whatnot, we can answer them there. Yeah, so if you go up to that Discord, you could check it out. You could check it out or not, one way or the other. Either way. Unless you went to Tacoma, it's like 6 lanes wide. That's very true. There's a lot. The I-5 gets bigger and smaller. It's a big road, though. You can get on it in Canada and then drive to Mexico, to give you an idea. Yeah. I thought Donald's Fish Vibes was a member. I don't know. But anyhow. Well, okay. So, and our super chat of the day was from Terry's Tropical Tanks. Thank you very much, Terry. We appreciate you. Appreciate you supporting the channel and being a member, dude. Love it. And Roseanne, thank you very much for joining up on Patreon. We appreciate you. All right. I think I gave a shout out to everybody. I hope you all have a great, fantastic weekend. If I wake up tomorrow and we have 100 members, I'll do a live stream on Saturday. How about that? There we go. So we would need 28 new members. I'll do some weekend live streaming. If we get that many more members, I'll do some weekend live streaming. We'll talk about whatever you new people want to talk about. All right. I forgot to mention to y'all. Somebody is cooking food upstairs, and I haven't eaten any food today. I'm super hungry.